Hello everyone, I have been improving my Voxel game engine for the past month or so. The most challenging problem is how to save and load voxel objects so players can build and reuse their designs anywhere. Having this feature is crucial for my vision of this engine. After a lot of painful work, I was able to get something barely functional working. But first, I want to show you something that I find to be really cool. Infinite chunk generation using the player's view direction, position and velocity. Check this out. As I look around, the chunks in that area start loading in. This was the final result of series of attempts at building a chunk loading system, and the solution was surprisingly simple. Turns out, you can just throw the problem of picking the right chunks to load onto a separate thread. First you iterate through all the neighboring unloaded chunks and add them to an array. Each chunk receives a priority value based on the criteria mentioned previously, and then the array is sorted. Here's me playing around with the cool HDRP ray tracing, which takes quite a hit from all the triangles in the scene. I decided to remove ray tracing support for now since I want to isolate each part of this voxel engine to see its pitfalls. You can sculpt the terrain. Terrain modification is still too slow to be playable. We'll probably have to revamp that later. For now, enjoy the scenery. I also removed the trees and the cardinals because they slow down the game too much. I need to explore Unity Entity Component System and find a better way of rendering voxels dynamically. Perhaps with mesh instancing. One of my dreams have been to build a plane and fly it around. For that, I will need seats and a way to turn in the air. This montage shows how to do that. First I build the fuselage and mount the wings on motors. Here I change the wing type to control surface. Basically, the type determines whether those voxels get effects by lift and drag forces. Control surfaces only use drag, which is how they cause turns. Now I am trying to figure out the right size for the wings. It's all experimental and part of the fun. Let's also place the thruster so we can actually move. Next up, I added a seat. The blue-white voxels represents the seat. You can customize its orientation. I want it to be facing forwards. Let's do a little test flight. It works. This is the coolest part in my opinion. I am wiring up the control surfaces so they react to my commands. The wires are just line renderers that emit light, which also act as light sources. Okay, the plane is done. Time to fly? What's cool about the flight mechanics is that they totally dynamic, which means you can build any type of controls you want and sky's the limit. Just remember that physics can get unstable. The individual nodes of the circuits and their wirings are mesmerizing to watch. The terrain generation system is working properly as well, which is quite a relief. Currently there are two biomes: plains with all the grass voxels and mountains with the rock voxels. They are generated using the mathematics noise library with the Unity job system. I think they came out pretty nicely and I can't wait to add more in the future. Once in a while the terrain system throws in a huge pit in the middle of nowhere. That's definitely a bug, but it looks nice, so I think I'll keep it. Time to land. Now that I am satisfied, let's move on to the next phase of development, which is the save load system. I need this system really bad. It would be so nice to be able to save your designs and load them back in instantly. Rebuilding every time I test my game is painful. So with hopes for a brighter future, I present the following. The garage. Here you can build your designs and save them to your file system. The UI got a fancy new look. I also built a new color picker, so I can pick any color I want for my voxels. You've got tools on the left-hand side and some more tools on the right. At the top there is the title of the current design. Looking at the left-hand side, there are three main tools. The first one is for placing objects and it's the one on the top. The second one is for adding voxels. And the third for adding attachments. The fourth tool with the two arrows is for setting the orientation of the object, such as the front and up sides. Without that you wouldn't know which way the object is facing. Finally, the last two tools are for saving and loading. I was too lazy to come up with a different icon for both smiley face. Now on the right-hand side. The first tool is for grid snapping. The second for voxel size. Third for glow and fourth for color in HSV space. It is also important to visualize the bounding boxes of each voxel object. A voxel object is just a collection of voxels of varying sizes and attachments, each nested inside another in a hierarchical fashion. In order to visualize this, I draw teal bounding boxes around the entire object as well as all its nested voxel objects. This tells you that if you delete the parent voxel object, all its children, including its attachments, will be deleted as well. Now, let me show you a voxel car I built off-screen on a test track. Isn't this amazing? You can design anything you want, as long as it's within the bounds of the physics engine, and play with it instantly? I want to stress the fact that what you just saw was Unity loading a voxel object from the local file system, instantiating and configuring all the voxels plus attachments into a functional car, and then giving you control over it precisely the way you designed the circuits. This is very promising for countless game modes including multiplayer, and much more. Okay, let's build something new. How about a hovercraft? A hovercraft is built using the hover node attachment from the attachment menu on the left-hand side. So I lay out scaffolding for the hovercraft's body. Then, I place motors for steering on the bottom and attach the hover nodes. The hover nodes have patterns that describe their orientation. There is a solid circle at the front and an empty circle at the back with arrow-like things on the side. This isn't the greatest design by far, but it works for now. I build two circuits, one for steering and another for driving. The steering circuit powers the motors at the front and the driving circuit powers the hover nodes. I also changed the design of the signal nodes. Those glowing blue plus signs are the new design. Previously, they were small blue voxels, if you recall from the airplane circuitry. I'll let you watch the building process. Okay, time to set up the hover nodes. Hover nodes need to know how far off the ground they should be, how strong they need to be in order to lift the object's weight, how stable or bouncy they should be, their grip, drift ability, torque for moving forward and gliding friction. When they detect ground, they emit circular waves that represent the hovering action. The waves visually describe the settings of the hover node. The higher the stability value, the more waves it will emit. Here I am setting the grip to 50% because I want some drift while turning, but not too much. Now let's remove the scaffolding and see the hover nodes working. It works. Before we can save this design, we have to set its orientation correctly. Here, the red arrow represents forward and green arrow represents up directions. They can be rotated using the arrow keys. This is how the third-person camera will determine how to follow it. Let's also name our design. Finally, let's save it. The save window shows the local directory. Time to test it out. Looks like the loading system has incorrectly oriented the hover nodes. The third-person camera is also incorrect as it's facing off to the hovercraft side rather than right behind it. I am not sure why this is. This system is a work in progress. Here's what the hovercraft looks like after a small patch to the loading system. So what's next? I want to flush out the save, load system a bit more and add support for more nodes. While testing, I noticed that the game was unplayable with more than 5-ish voxel cars. I am not sure why this is. I want to research Unity physics and perhaps start learning ECS so we can have lots of concurrent voxel cars. I will probably make a launcher for this game that will give players the option of entering several game modes including survival, garage and racetrack. Other ideas include running a design shop where customers tell you what they want and you design it. There can also be a run-your-own kitchen mode where you grow and cook your own food by transforming raw food voxels into edible food voxels. There are more ideas I have that will become possible with more optimization. I am new to game development, so I don't know if this is even possible, and if so, to what degree or how much time it will take. I am kinda just on a journey. However, I cannot do this without your support. I would like to see your enthusiasm and dislikes. That way I will ensure high quality and faster updates. Please like, subscribe, leave comments and share this video with those who might be interested in having a voxel engine like this. I really need your support. That's all for now. Till next time.